So let's talk about this watch. This is the Galaxy Watch 5 from Samsung that came out back in August of 2022. Now, the variant I have is the 40mm, not the 44mm. So that means the battery size on this is going to be slightly smaller compared to the 44mm. And this is not the Watch 5 Pro, Samsung's premium watch lineup for the 5 series. This is the basic entry-level Watch 5 40mm. So the variant I currently have is the Graphite edition with this kind of silicone-looking black band, which is honestly not bad at all. It's very, very well made and well constructed. Now, as far as the specs are concerned, the watch sports the Exynos W920 chip. It comes with 1.5 gigabytes of RAM and 16 gigabytes of storage. The casing for this watch is the Armor aluminum case, which differs from the Watch 5 Pro, which sports the titanium case. Now, as far as the battery is concerned on this watch, the 40mm variant has a 284 milliamp hour battery cell versus the 44mm variant, which has the 410 milliamp hour battery cell. Now, when it comes to the resolution, this watch does not disappoint on that front. It has a Super AMOLED display, so that means you're going to get pretty much like the best of the best display available, very similar to displays that you would find on your smartphone, for example. More specifically, this has 396 by 396 pixels, which is incredibly detailed and crisp. As you can see, I'm zooming into the watch face and pixels are barely noticeable. So you could take my word for it. You can see the pixels a little bit when you zoom into the watch face, but other than that, just from a distance, you really wouldn't be able to tell. So as far as the actual physical display of the watch is concerned, it has a sapphire crystal display, which is actually pretty durable compared to the Watch 4 series that Samsung released previous year. It was actually sporting Gorilla Glass display technology. So this is definitely a lot more durable compared to the Watch 4 series. So as far as the OS is concerned, with the Watch 3, Samsung had its own proprietary Tizen OS that they were using to operate these watches. But now that's not the case anymore. Starting with the Watch 4 and beyond, including the Watch 5 series, they have Wear OS baked into the watch. In addition to Samsung Watch UI, which is very similar to One UI that Samsung uses for smartphones. So as you can see, it is pretty streamlined for the most part. You know, it has a bunch of different features available at your disposal. You can actually have these customizable tiles. You can add all these different tiles as you please. They really have tiles for tracking your health summary. They have tiles for steps. They have tiles for literally anything you can think of, including smart things. They're pretty much like widgets that you find on a smartphone that you can customize. And, you know, if these tiles are not sufficient for you, if you feel the need to have a lot more widgets at your disposal, then you can definitely go into the Samsung Wearable app and add and customize more tiles to your liking. Now, as far as the sensors on this watch are concerned, it has a lot of different sensors. Samsung is just packing the best of the best in the series in an effort to compete with Apple. So obviously, you know, I won't be able to cover all of them, but I'll give you guys kind of like a tidbit of some of the basic sensors that it has. So for example, if you go into the Samsung Health app on the watch itself, obviously it will be able to measure your heart rate. That's normal. It will also be able to measure your stress level. It has deep sleep monitoring. It can also measure your body composition, and then you can record how many glasses of water you're taking in at any given point in time. And then it can also measure your blood oxygen level. So, you know, all these different sensors are available to your disposal. So when it comes to exercise and workout routines, this watch definitely delivers on that front. So for starters, you have your regular walking, running, cycling, but then if you click into more, you have just a bunch of different exercise options available. So you have swimming, circuit training, running coach, hiking, exercise bike, literally every single workout you can possibly think about you have at your disposal. And then you can even add more either from your phone or from these list of pre-selected options as well. As far as sleep is concerned, it is pretty accurate when tracking your sleep. So, you know, you press into it, and then when you wear your watch at night, you set the watch in sleep mode. It can basically track all your sleep records. So as far as the ratings are concerned, this watch has an IP68 water resistance rating and a 5 ATM rating for water resistance as well. So that basically means that the watch can withstand a water pressure of up to 50 meters. So again, this does not mean that the watch is waterproof by any means. So obviously, like, you wouldn't be able to go swimming with this this watch and completely drown it, submerge it in water. But it does mean that you can go for a quick hand wash with the watch on, and you can be safe that nothing will happen to it. So this watch also has a water lock available, and what it will do is eject any excess water from the watch itself. So basically you press that option and then you press this button, hold it down for 2 seconds, and then it'll turn off the water lock, eject the water, and then once the water has finished ejecting, it'll just stop automatically. On the topic of design, compared to the Watch 4 series, there's not a noticeable difference, really, not much of a difference, but there is one thing that is very different about this watch, and that is the bezel. So if you recall from the Watch 4 Classic, they did have the physical rotating bezel, but now they changed it to a digital bezel. So that means that you're going to have to use basically the outline of the watch to kind of scroll through all the widgets or all the applications, kind of use it as your navigation helper. You can either just scroll manually with your finger, or you have the option of using that digital rotating bezel to kind of navigate through the whole app drawer. Definitely some mixed reviews about this. Personally, I don't mind it that much because I've never tried the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic or any other watches prior to that with the physical bezel. But I want to say for people who've tried that watch, it is a bit of a disappointment coming into this watch, knowing that this watch doesn't have that offer available. When it comes to navigation, the watch is pretty intuitive to use, just like the Galaxy 4 series. So again, you scroll up, you get the app drawer, so you can scroll through all the list of applications. And all of these apps, you have the option of actually editing the order. So if you click and drag, you can drag it however which way you want. And keep in mind that you can also do this through the wearable app on your Samsung phone, if you have a Samsung phone. So that's with the app drawer. And then if you scroll down, you get your action panel, your notification panels over here. And again, you can customize all of this with the Samsung wearable app. And then if you scroll to your right, you have all your notifications. So whenever you get a new notification, it pops up over here. And then again, as I've shown you guys before, these are all the different widgets available at your disposal, and you can edit these widgets however which way you want. Then if you touch and hold in the middle over here, you can actually change the watch face. So you have a bunch of different watch faces to choose from. The list is basically endless. And again, if you don't like any of these watch faces, you have even more to choose in the Samsung wearable app. But as far as navigation is concerned, that's basically it for the most part. So on the topic of navigation, as I've already mentioned, this watch has 2 buttons, one on the top and one on the bottom, the home button and the back button respectively. So these are mappable buttons. So in my case, I've decided to map the top button to the Google Assistant. So if I long press this, it will just give me the Google Assistant. And then if I double press this or long press, it will give me Samsung Pay. I believe that is the default, but again, you can customize it any which way you want. And then if I double press this, then it will give me Google Pay. So again, very easy to customize. I suggest you guys actually play around with it to see what works best for you. So one of the last things I want to talk about when it comes to this watch is the battery life. Now, I did mention that this has a 284 milliamp hour battery cell, which is better compared to the Galaxy 4 series, which means that the battery is better, but it's still not optimal. So according to Samsung, they rate it as coming out to 50 hours of battery life, but that's really more true for the 44mm variant, but the one I have, definitely not true. I can manage to get a day and a half, but with the always on display turned off and some of the other sensors turned off. If I leave the always on display turned on, and then if I leave the brightness on full, and then if I also turn on continuous heart monitoring, for example, I find myself having to charge this every single day. I don't think I would be able to make it past a day and a half. A day and a half is like the maximum cap limit. So if you're looking for a watch with better battery, I suggest going for the 44mm variant, because that watch will be closer to Samsung's representation of the 50 hours that they so claim, where you will get up to 2 days. When it comes to the charger for the watch, it is slightly different from last year's. So it's a 10 watt fast charger, and this time around they have USB-C. versus Galaxy Watch 4, they had USB Type A. So with that, when I charge it from 0 to 100%, it takes approximately an hour and 10 minutes for this watch to charge fully, versus for the Galaxy Watch 4, I believe it took closer to an hour and a half, or maybe even 2 hours. So there are ways to conserve battery a lot more. So for example, if you go to the battery setting, you can enable power saving mode, but just keep in mind that you're actually compromising a lot of the features. So as far as the pricing is concerned, 40mm right now on Amazon is around $250, depending on when you look at it. There are always discounts happening for these type of things. So, the price does fluctuate a lot, but right now it is around $250 for this variant. And then for the 44mm variant, it is around $280. And if you're trying to go for the big dog, the Watch 5 Pro, you're going to be paying around $450 or $400 on Best Buy. But that's pretty much been it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Take care.